Hey, it's Aaron Kushler and welcome to another video from EBSC. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to build overhead stability. Overhead stability is going to be really important, especially if you're doing Olympic lifts, so clean and jerk and snatches as well. And for a lot of people, they get caught in their tracks because they don't have the mobility in the shoulders to start with, or the actual stability to hold significant weight above their head. So it makes no sense to just keep doing the same thing and expecting a different result. What we need to do is think outside the box in order to get you stronger shoulders so you can support more weight above your head. I'm going to show you how to build overhead stability using one of these. By using a yoke, as we've got here, it's going to create instability for our shoulders to have to overcome when we're carrying things overhead. Most of the time when we're doing snatches and push jerks and we're just pressing straight up without having anything moving and fighting us to do that, we're only training in one plane and hoping for the best. So this is a really easy way to make sure that you're actually training the stability of it. And the beauty thing with this is, as you go to move, the yoke's going to counteract that movement and try to fight you. So you're going to be holding it the whole time above your head and trying to stop those forces that are working against you. So I'll show you quickly how to go about doing this. What I've got here is just a standard yoke. Most of them are around this height as well and this size. What you're going to do is set the yoke up so it's nice and high. So having it well and truly right up the top. If you can adjust it even higher, do so. So what you want to be able to do, stand underneath, have your hands as wide as you can. So try to mimic the position you would have your hands if you were doing a split jerk, for instance. Hands on the yoke, and then you're going to drop down so your arms are straight. Then from here, all you're going to do is stand up, holding the yoke, okay? Get your balance, and then we're going to be going for a walk. To put it down, just reverse the motion. So keep the arms straight, down, and set it down. So the good thing with doing it this way is it's obviously high enough that if you do drop it, it's not going to come down on your head. The difference is if you were doing this with a barbell and walking, is that there's a very real possibility that it could come down on your head if something goes wrong. So doing it with this is a little bit safer than doing a barbell. As with any strength movement, you want to start first with no weight for a set of 20 to 30 meters. If it's too easy, you can obviously add weight. Another thing to consider is the higher up that you have the crossbar on the yoke, it's going to determine how much swing you have. The lower that this comes down, there's going to be less of a pendulum effect. Obviously, the higher up, the more pendulum effect you're going to get. So it's going to be harder to actually walk if the yoke is right up really high. A little bit less if it's down a little bit lower and you actually have to squat and then press the yoke above your head. Obviously, not everyone's going to have access to a yoke, and that is fine. If you don't have a yoke to do what we just went through before, you can replicate the movement with a barbell, some bands, and dumbbells or kettlebells. It's not going to be exactly the same, but it'll be pretty close. So I'm going to show you what to do with that. So what you're going to do is grab a barbell in the squat rack, a little bit higher than you would normally a back squat. All right, so we want to try and get it up as close as we can to an easy pressing position for our shoulders. So we're going to have to obviously press the barbell above our head once we've got the bands and kettlebells attached to it. Then you're going to take two bands. Fucking hell. What you're going to do then is attach each one to the collars of the barbell and hitch them on and have it in pretty close to the actual collar here. All right, so once you've got your bands attached to your barbell and they're just like this, all you need to do from there is take two dumbbells of the same weight, obviously, and just put the head through the band like so, okay? That will just stay there, it will just hang. A kettlebell, you'd have to actually hitch it around. We do that on both sides of the barbell, like so. This is going to replicate our yoke, what we set up before. It's going to be a little bit different. Obviously, you don't have that safety of being able to put it down. So make sure the rack is set up in a position where you can get to easily, so that when you do your walks, you can turn around and come back and put it down on the rack. From there, what you're going to do is set up your hand placement in the same width that you would at the top of a push press or most of your Olympic lifts. You can alternatively do this in a snatch grip to train that particular movement too. From there, you're going to unrack the barbell, push it up above our head, And there you've got the same thing. So the weight is trying to fight me right now by going back and forth, and I have to keep my arms locked out to keep it stable. So from here, you basically just start walking. You can do it in place if you want, walk back and forth. Any movement that you create is going to be amplified through the bands and through the dumbbells. Then simply just bring it down, back into the rack when you're finished. It's actually really hard. So guys, to program these into your workout to get the most out of them, do them on upper body days. And what I like to do sometimes as well is, before I do any Olympic lifts or overhead pressing movements, is actually put them in prior to doing those. So use them as a bit of a warm-up tool to activate the muscles of the upper back to make sure that your shoulders are nice and stable. Again, you can use them at the end of that session as well to build the endurance capability of your shoulders and being able to hold weight above your head for an extended period of time. Go in sets of 20 meters to start off with, and just go by feel. So if you feel like after 20 meters it's really tough on the shoulders, cap it there. Do 3 to 4 sets of 20 meters, then come back on your next upper body day and do it again. If that's really easy for you, either increase the weight or increase the distance that you're walking. So if we're using a barbell, obviously you probably want to keep the distance quite short so that when you come back you can quickly re-rack that bar and reduce the load. The yoke you can pretty much do as far as you want because you can place it down when you're fatigued. So guys, if you've got a lot out of this video and you found it helpful, make sure you like the video, click on the subscribe button so that you get notified of new content coming up. I'll see you next time.